Well. Our first fixture of 2022. We saw the results versus Arsenal and Man City. We saw the result for the Chelsea and Liverpool game. And this was United's time to capitalize. And what did we do? Oh boy, this is the breakdown. And you know what? Let's get this show on the road. Big Phil here for the United Hour, and on this segment on the breakdown, we're going to talk about the abysmal, dramatic, and embarrassing performance put down by Manchester United Football Club versus Wolves. But before I start, I just want to say a happy 2022, a happy new year to everyone tuning in to the United Hour. Hope you and your family, your loved ones have a great and safe 2022. We call this the breakdown, but I call this a therapy session, and I am going to be joined by none other by Devin Walker, Texas Ranger, who is all the way in Tampa, Florida. We are going to spend the next 20 to 30 minutes looking at this performance that Manchester United just put down.
If you call that performance.
Oh my gosh. Devin, 0 shots on target in the first half. But anyway, before we go into the game, how are you doing? How has your new year been so far?
Well, before today, I was very optimistic for this year, expecting new year, new start, got a big things planned for this year. Hopefully getting married this year. So I was hoping the year off be a good start. And obviously this afternoon, a little adversity facing after that result, but we have to go ahead and discuss it and keep it moving. So
No, I definitely feel you on that one because we ended the new year on a bang, with 3 points versus Burnley, and then we started off the new year with this abysmal one love drubbing. I think I'll call it a drubbing because there was no point of today's match where we had control, right? The
correct.
only positive that
Phil
I can
Jones.
see from this match was the return of Big Phil Jones. That's the only positive, and he did pretty well. But let's take the next 20 to 30 minutes to maybe discuss how this match went down, what you were expecting, and then maybe we'll go into some player ratings if we have some time, right? So, with regards to the lineup, Devin, I think we had a back four of Wan-Bissaka, Luke Shaw, and then the centre back pairing was Raphael Varane and Phil Jones, of all people.
Correct.
Midfield was Scott
Scott.
McTominay and Nemanja Matic.
Correct.
On the flanks were
Greenwood
Greenwood
and
and
Sancho.
Sancho, and up top were Cavani and Ronaldo. Right? What were your thoughts on the lineup?
Well, right off, I was like, okay, let's see. This is a very close to the same lineup that we had where we played pretty decent when we played versus Burnley. So I was like, let's see what happens. Phil Jones, it was the jury was out. You hadn't played for a while. This was your opportunity. Go out there, don't disappoint. And so I was optimistic. I was expecting a win, but it was very obvious from the start that Wolves were ready and came to Old Trafford to bring it to us. We did not play our game in pressing at all. It seemed that Wolves were dictating the entire match. But from the lineup, for the most part, I was very optimistic. I thought this would have been enough to get 3 points, especially when we know how vital all these points are with the top four race going on now, because our title shots are done this year, and I hate to say it, but right now, just got to focus on maintaining Champions League.
Yeah, yeah. Before I make my comment, just want to get some comments on the inside. Good afternoon, Martin Phillip. Good afternoon, gentlemen. I want to hear the good things from this game because it was very. You see this Martin Phillip guy? Martin, don't get me wrong. Martin comes on the United Hour all the time, and we appreciate your presence and your comments, right? But I remember you make some comments saying that United will win our next game, and you always make this comment after every single United Hour. And lo and behold, we don't win. Martin, if you watch the performance from the previous game and the performance versus Wolves today, you will be surprised. You'll be surprised, right? Um, Chad Phillip, good afternoon. Is saying that Jones was our best player for United.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
yeah. You know how poor a team is performing when a defender or a goalkeeper is your best player, right? Now, with regards to the starting lineup, I mean, it was I don't want to say shocking, but it was a big surprise to see Phil Jones included in the starting lineup. I was actually kind of surprised that Bruno Fernandez was not in the starting 11 because
I
yeah, he was
I
suspended.
was not at all. I was not at all, to be very honest.
True, because no, don't get me wrong. Most people predicted that Bruno will just serve the suspension versus Burnley, and then he'll be back into the starting lineup. But Bruno wasn't in, so I was like, okay, cool. So, but Ralf did have the balls to bench Bruno and Marcus Rashford because their performances for the last couple of games have been totally shocking, right?
And to be
So
fair, I think he did the same with Harry Maguire, but just said something to protect his confidence.
yeah, Harry Maguire was not in the United lineup for the first time, I guess, since his suspension. Yeah, I guess since his suspension, right? Now it was a very makeshift slash weird lineup, but at the end of the day, 3 points were there for the taking because we saw the result with Man City and Arsenal. We have two games in hand on Arsenal. Arsenal lost to Man City, but they performed well. But at the end of the day, it's a results business, right? We saw
Correct.
Chelsea and Liverpool
Draw.
draw. We saw Spurs win in the last minute. We saw West Ham. I think West Ham won as well too, right? So Spurs
Correct.
won, West Ham won, and Arsenal lost, and then Liverpool and Chelsea drew, right? So today on Monday, where all eyes would have been on us, this was the chance for us to take 3 points. And let's get into the performance right now, Devin. Um, one thing I mentioned before One thing I mentioned, I started this podcast. The number 0 was the number of shots that United had on target
In the first half.
in the first half. Floor is yours, Devin.
So from the beginning, it was all right. Let's see if we can go out and dictate the play. And I have to give credit to Wolves. They were a very well coached side today. They came in with a plan. They knew exactly how to implement it, and they implemented it pretty flawlessly. Um, I thought in the first half they were absolutely dominant. And so then we decided to finally bring in Bruno, which I also agreed with not starting him from the get go. Let him sweat a little bit, let him experience the bench a little bit, and say, all right, you want to get your spot back? Come out here now, get him a little pissed off, and say, go out there and prove it. And he went out there and he played well, in my opinion, as well as he could out there. The introduction of Traore changed the entire game, and that pushed it all in the favor of Wolves because he was just absolutely terrorizing Luke Shaw. And of course, Luke Shaw is afraid to go in because he's already on a yellow from a stupid yellow card from before. So he's out for the next match anyway, too. But he didn't want to have us come down for 10 men, and he was just absolutely terrorizing Luke Shaw out there. And that to me, it's not gonna show in the stats for an assist for him, but he is the reason that they won that match today. So because he was out there just they was torching our left side badly. And so Phil Jones I was very pleasantly surprised because I know you will be the first one in here saying Phil Jones a training cone.
Yeah,
The man went out there and he did exactly what you would hope any player does when they get their opportunity. You go out there and you seize the moment. And he went out there and he played really well today. I mean, he's a little bit unlucky for obviously with the he tried to head the ball out and unfortunately it fell right onto Moutinho's foot. And that shot just happened to go right through McTominay's legs as well, and nothing De Gea can do about that. But he was the only bright
Why,
spot
why, why
for.
wasn't the midfield? Why wasn't the midfield not there to shut down Moutinho? Because we know Moutinho and Neves are guys who will shoot from anywhere on the field. They're not one of these guys
Well,
who's going
I
to look
thought
to the
so.
box.
I actually thought that they were covering Neves pretty well for the most part. It was just they left Moutinho open in that one spot, and he just happened to hit a low shot into the corner, and it happened to go through McTominay's legs. So it's just it's so unfortunate, but that is a classic smash and grab, and that's exactly what happened as soon as they brought in Traore. And we were just disorganized. We do not have any transition from our defense to our midfield to our final third. We lack creativity today. Um, we did have a couple of chances. The player who I'm most disappointed in is Marcus Rashford because I expected, okay, you're on the bench, you don't start from the get go. Come out there, do not keep on repeating the same mistakes that you're doing. Do not disappoint. And go out there and just play the match and show in front of Old Trafford right now what you're capable of doing. And what does he do? He's wasteful with. I think we had one we were setting up for our counter attack. So to play a simple ball, right on the ground, and he basically passed it right to Jose Sal. And
He always goes for that camera pass. I call it a camera pass because it will be it will be highlighted for days to
but
come.
the problem was all he had to do was just tap it in, and we were in. And he just overshot the pass on the ground. And right from there, I'm just like, it's gonna be one of those games. And there was another time as well before, and the only reason why I'm highlighting out Marcus Rashford more than anybody else because he's the player that I expect the most from. He's the one that I expect to be the future Manchester United captain potentially that should be learning from all of this. And so I expect big things from him when he comes out there. I know he's still only 24 and whatever, but if you're doing all this stuff off the pitch, I want to see you have that same effort on the pitch and go out there and boss it like you've been doing in seasons past. Unfortunately, we didn't see that today again. There was another opportunity where we were in the final third, and he tried to set up for a shot at first, and they closed him down like real fast. Instead of passing the ball, he tries to
He's getting very predictable these
and then,
days.
and then instead of trying to pass the ball off, he's sitting there and he wants to try and dribble into five people and get past them somehow. So I actually I would have preferred Sancho staying on because I thought Sancho was playing pretty decent, to be very honest. I actually one thing I did also like Green was tracking back today. He made a couple plays in our half that were very clutch as well. I thought that was a good point. However, some of our passes today were just absolutely abysmal. He's setting up to try to set up a counter attack, and the ball's 5 yards behind the player. I saw that a few times today as well, and for the life of me, I could not figure out what went wrong.
I was on a couple of podcasts before this current one here, right? And what most of the guests, most of the panels, they all said one thing in common, and that was Scott McTominay. They do not know how Scott McTominay gets into this Manchester United starting 11 week in, week out over Donny van der Beek or over anyone else, right? And most people are thinking that, well, most people have already thought it. How are we going to progress as a team? How are we going to win trophies? How are we going to make the fans at Old Trafford happy? How are we going to make people on the United Hour happy with Scott McTominay in our midfield? I'm sorry, but you can take the top 10 teams in the EPL, and Scott McTominay is starting for none of them, right? You singled out Marcus Rashford. I'm singling out Scott McTominay. I do not know what, because it's funny because some people tell me that Scott McTominay, the previous coaches saw something good in him. Yeah, those coaches are now sacked, right? A lot of people don't realize that. I mean, with regards to even going out to Aaron Wan-Bissaka in the second half tried something, and I was like, "What are you trying to do?" This guy dribbled past one guy. I'm like, "Okay, cool. Expect him to cross."
You talk about we hit it with the left foot before we went to cross it and pass it right up.
Yeah,
To,
and I'm
to,
like,
to, to be fair, Traore did it as well.
Traore is on the winning side though.
So I'm just saying, no, like I give Wan-Bissaka benefit of the doubt for that. But yes, I was upset, but I remember the exact play too, and so even the commentators up here were talking about that we've all done it once before. And but because don't forget, he was putting in a couple real good crosses before that too. They were just they were just barely missing Ronaldo's head.
Yeah,
And
there were two
yeah.
crosses. Yeah.
So I give him benefit of the doubt for that because he was putting in some good crosses and it's coming. The finished product is nearly there. I also like now that Dalot is there and his position is not guaranteed. It kind of like to fire up under him. So okay, gotta go out and you gotta actually step up, and that's why I noticed that with the crosses. So because those two before, okay, you messed that one up. All right, I give you benefit of the doubt for that. Now do not make that a repeat thing now because everybody screws up every once in a while. Okay, make up and then move on, and then all is forgiven.
No, I mean that performance today, that team could not string three passes together. For that team could not even string a violin together, right? There was a
Yeah,
comment
it's
there was a comment made by I think Ian Wright today where he said he doesn't see any changes. It's still the same Ole Gunnar Solskjaer system.
mm,
And that kind of hit me because when I look at the performances versus Newcastle, the performance that we put down versus I can't remember who we won one love against after Young Boys, but it was Newcastle, somebody else, and then today, man, I look back at the Crystal Palace match and I'm like, is this the United that we will expect going forward?
Norwich was that match where we
Norwich,
were out we were outplayed the whole time, and we just happened to. It was a penalty, if I remember right.
yeah, Max Aaron's brought down. We're now on the box and we won one love, right? But those
Mhm.
matches after the Crystal Palace, it does not look the exact same way, right? Yeah, people are telling me to give Ralph some time, and I'm willing to give Ralph some time. I already called here on
Well,
the
we
United.
don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. We have to. We're
It's
stuck with
true.
him. We're stuck with him for the end of the season. So no matter what, just have to go through it and see it. However, what I do believe is that Ralph needs to realize that his system that he wants to play, the players here, either
Are not
they
disciplined enough.
they don't know how to play it, they don't want to play it, or they simply just cannot play it. And so then, like
Maybe, and that's why Ralph. That's why Ralph is probably going to look to go into the January transfer window to get players who can either provide competition for some of these first team players or that will fit his system. Right? Let me
and
go
that's what
through
it
some
comes
of the
into.
comments. Yeah, I get back to you, David. Let's
No
go through
problem.
some of the
Yeah, no problem.
comments. Um, Chad Phillip is saying Jones is our best player. That's true. We don't look like Ralph's systems getting into the players, and it's true. It's almost like Ralph tells them something on the training ground, and the guys do something totally different on match day.
Correct.
Or this system wasn't getting into these guys. Martin is saying, did any of you think Fred should have played in this match?
Mm,
I mean, he could have.
that actually has a good defense because if I remember right, in the when we played them earlier in the season, did wasn't Fred like actually running around pretty well in that match, but he did give the ball away a few times as well,
Fred
if I
was
remember.
horrible in that match. I remember.
That that that
I
that,
will
that
always
that's why I was trying to remember that match.
Fred was horrible in that match. Fred gave away the ball, had Pogba looking like an idiot. Fred miscontrolled the ball for Trinko, got roasted by Trinko. We still won that match, one love, but
And
I
that was
don't.
because of that was a De Gea double save that won that match for us, if I remember right.
Correct. So I mean, I don't know if Fred would have made a difference today.
I just
Um,
don't. I cannot figure out the Donny situation.
Chad is saying these players make me feel like we could just sell, and that exactly how I was feeling during
I
this
hear
match.
it, but you know what the problem is with that? Who is going to want to? Which player is actually going to want to leave because he knows he's not going to get the salaries that he's getting anywhere else,
He's
except
probably not going
maybe.
to get the salary. He's not. He probably knows he's not going to get a start in the team that he goes to. Well, depending on if it's a club that's on the same level as United or probably a club that's lower, right? So yeah, I mean these players make me feel like you just want to sell 80% of them in the summer. Yeah. At the end of the
And
day,
and the worst part about it, the worst part about it though, is you want to go in. and you want to try and get them fired up. You want to try and light a fire under them, explain to them what's going on, what's going wrong. You explain to it in a constructive criticism way to benefit the side, and then they take that as, oh well, now I'm in my feelings. So now, like, oh,
Exactly.
he hurt my feelings. So now I'm gonna sulk around instead of trying to get better or do anything like this. Oh, but I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, he hurt my feelings. Oh, but buy my new clothing line now. By the way, it doesn't matter that we just lost, but yeah, here's my new clothing line. And so, like, that's my problem right now. And it's again with Rashford. It's, yeah, okay. You feed all the British children. That is great. You get recognized for it, and deservedly so. But it's time now to start focusing more on getting back to where you were at United, because you should be improving right now. You should be out there, like, you should be the first name on the team sheet, in my opinion, for not only just for Manchester United but also for England. And
Rashford
we're
has
not.
been the same thing for the last
Yeah.
2 years. The guy's decision making has not improved.
And so that's something where I don't know if, like me saying it, that coached into him properly or what, but he is so much better than what he's putting out right now. And that's
Boy, this
that's the frustrating part more so than anything else.
this whole United team in that performance just now can do this here, man. Boy, we're 20 minutes in and still reading some of the comments.
Mhm.
Last comment: Ralph needs to be brave and play 1-6. Okay,
Correct.
but here's the thing: we don't have a defensive midfielder, so he's going to have to play all the quote unquote sixes in that holding midfield role, right? Until we get, I guess, a defensive midfielder, then these sixes or whatever will have to, play that holding midfield role plus do some defensive duties, right? So, um, boy, I was frustrated at first when that match was going on. Now I'm completely numb, right? That team had me so disappointed. And it's the frustrating part. Like I mentioned earlier in the stream, we saw other teams around us drop points or capitalize on other teams'
This
drop points.
and this was the, I was going to cuss Bayesian just now. This was the opportunity to go ahead and make a statement, and also start building up in the lead to finish in those top four spots. Which now that's our ceiling right now. It's just finishing top four. It's not about competing for titles like Manchester United should be. Now it's just, oh no, just damage control. Because right now it seems like the only way that we're going in Champions League next season, and this is probably even more unlikely, is to win the Russell Champions League this season.
It's true. Can you imagine Cristiano Ronaldo playing Europa League
Or Conference League as it stands right now.
or
Or
Conference League?
it's just
But
exactly.
but here's the thing: are our players Conference League level? Right? Nah. Well, you mentioned the Beijing word, and I can mention it too. I was frustrated as raw soul today. I was,
Yep,
I
correct.
was, boy. By the end, at the end of the day, we can still support the club through thick and thin. But as fans, we get to give our opinion on the matches, right? Because we can be joyful because we beat Leeds and we beat Crystal Palace with a great performance. But then when performances like Newcastle come and performances like today come, you gotta lay into the players, right? You gotta lay into all of them, right?
But unfortunately now we have to be careful how we do it because we don't want to hurt their feelings. Yes,
And, that, and, that, and that's the worst part.
it's
Some of
yes,
these players are going to perform bad and then come on Instagram and give this long essay like we give a.
it seems like we're playing a broken record that's on repeat. You wanna, okay, you play bad for a performance. I could care less if we go on Instagram or whatever and put up a big post apologizing. Go out there the next performance, play your ass off, and then in the post interview, then you can apologize and say, I hope my performance made up for it today. This is the bar that I need to play at from now on. Anything else is unacceptable. Then you can start saying, okay, now you have some merit to go with. But I'm sure that certain players will just have their PR team write up some big essay again.
Boy, all these players in
Well,
United.
with the
Wicked, them wicked, them wicked. I don't know how them so wicked. Why them so wicked? But I know so them wicked, them wicked, them wicked.
but yeah,
Devin, before we leave, man, where do we go from here? Not only for the next couple of fixtures, but for 2022,
well,
as a team, as fans, where
the
do we
pri-
go
the
from here?
the priority needs to go in, and the priority needs to be signing a six. And Ralph has to start realizing that yes, you want to have this system implemented right now, but the players are just simply not adapting quick enough. And we did okay. Well, I don't know how to say okay. This was the first team that we faced that was not one of relegation threatened, and we went out there and we looked like that. What is going to happen when we go against an informed Arsenal right now? Which I know we have that rivalry going right now, and I gotta tell you this right now. I feel like if we play Arsenal right now, we will get smoked. Especially when you
What?
want to play this game where they're going to be dictated and they're younger, so of course they're going to be running all over the pitch. So we're not going to be able to play our system. You're gonna try that gegenpressing thing. No, we're gonna be sprinting the whole time. We're gonna be tired out, and they're gonna run riot, and Ronaldo's gonna have one of his little fits again. So it's so it's no like I hate to say it, but if you like for Ralph, if they're not adapting in time, there's got to be a time when you realize, okay, I have to go to something else. Because in that my next question, which is starting, I'm starting to get at right now, is all these managers who learned under Rangnick that are successful managers now. Why are they not using that system right now that he so believes in?
But that's the thing. That's the thing, Devin. We saw this versus Crystal Palace, and we were telling ourselves, you know what? Ralph had this little time with these players, and imagine what he did with that little time. We saw how the players played versus
Correct,
Crystal Palace,
correct. Agreed.
and up to now, we can't replicate even half, a quarter of that performance. We can't.
And so I
Like,
just I am clueless right now, and my concern now is that if the players are not adapting to this formation, it's you got to change it before you start dropping more and more down. You could
that,
imagine a team with Ronaldo in it finishing 11th. You could imagine a Manchester United team finishing 11th, and that's what it seems like is going to happen. Yes, you'll beat the bottom half of the teams using that system, but you keep on trying against other teams that are established, have established midfields, and we are going to get dominated every single time because we can't get the balls to our attacking players who are phenomenal, but they need proper service to them in order to operate as they should be.
yeah, I gonna go through some comments before we wrap up, and then maybe we can give a little brief discussion on some of the comments here, right?
That's
Um,
fine.
Corey Mitchell, thanks for joining. I think Corey's from Barbados. Um, Corey is saying it's time that we play a more dynamic system. I agree, but do we have the players? Do we have the players that are disciplined enough to play a dynamic system? And I don't think so. I can call about 5 or 6 players that I would want to see on the bench versus trying to have them play in a system that they're not disciplined for, right? Going back to Chad, 2 games against Villa in the FA Cup and EPL. Can we win both of these? I don't know.
I actually think that we could win the FA Cup one for because we'll see Donny bring somebody else in, and Donny's gonna have the chip on his shoulder.
And I say I don't know because I'm not negative. I just don't know which Manchester United Football Club is going to show up on the day. I just don't. I was like that under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I'm still like that right now. Right, as Ian Wright said after the game, we still haven't seen any. We haven't seen any difference or any changes between the Man United under the Ole reign versus the Man United under the Ralph reign. Right. Um, Corey is saying again, let's do away with Ronaldo for a bit. I'm down for that. I am down for that, and I'm a big CR fan. I am down for that. We played without Ronaldo versus Chelsea. We looked well. I think it was earlier. I think it was earlier where we played without Ronaldo. Was it versus Everton? I think we drew that game, right?
Yeah, but we ended up drawing that match
Yeah,
after
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm down for that, right? Corey is also saying let's play Greenwood, Sancho, Rashford, and Bruno up top.
What about
Boy,
what about Cavani?
what about Cavani? I'm going to assume he was probably comparing, you analyzing Arsenal with their youngsters. let's play some youngsters as well too, right? And have them like do some pressing if that's possible. Like, don't get me wrong, even Cavani presses, but Cavani was doing no pressing today, right? Corey's also saying that front four is very dynamic and will shift all over the place, right?
Talking about his last comment.
Corey, I will take out Marcus Rashford and put in Cavani. I just have no faith in Marcus Rashford these days, boy, Corey. I have no faith whatsoever, right?
He should be the one playing FA Cup to redeem some confidence against Aston Villa's B side and go out there and do something to get some confidence back in there.
Chad is saying it's obviously a mentality thing with these players, but how long? But how long is this mentality thing going to last? Right? It's been there since I want to say end of the Europa League final. So no, how long is this mentality thing going to last? Right? Tonio, thanks for joining. Players come, players go. Managers come, managers go. The standard required has become so low. I agree, right? The standard has become so low, which probably breeds comfort, and which also breeds
complacency,
and favoritism as well too, right? There's some players on this team that know that it doesn't matter how shit I play, I will be starting the next game.
Correct.
Right? Tonio is saying we don't work hard enough.
I don't think anybody will disagree. You're not gonna find anybody to fight you on that, argue with you on that one. So
here's the thing, Tonio. We may have one or two players who work hard, but I want the team to work together as a unit. Right? Work hard, work. If one player will work hard, but imagine if all 11 players work hard. That's called working smart, right? And we just don't have that, right? This Martin Phillip comment, the famous Martin Phillip comment. Phil, just believe your team will bounce back and make you proud. Martin, that happens, and I will give you a phone call personally and tell you thank you. Right? But Happy New Year to you, Martin. Corey's laughing at somebody. Hopefully it's not me.
It was you. It was you.
Last comment by Otonio. Exactly. It doesn't run through the team. Right.
We got one more comment from your favorite Greg B, and I agree.
One Gregory Burris. Thanks for coming in and commenting, man. It's a damning stat to know Phil Jones was our best. Yeah. Like we just discussed earlier in the stream, anytime your goalkeeper or your center back is your best player, you know that you have problems in the team, right? I was a bit worried because it's Phil Jones's first game after 707 games, and then Rafael Varane is now coming back from injury, so I was a bit worried that there'll be like very little communication or there'll be no chemistry, right? But Phil Jones did well today. He did it. He wasn't outstanding. He just did the normal things, and he did enough to have Ralf saying, you know what, maybe you're in contention for the next game, right? So this has been our therapy session. Let's call it that. This has been our therapy session. This has been,
and I got my medication right here.
Yeah, boy. I have something in this cup as well. I won't reveal what's inside here. But at the end of the day, you know what? We all love our club. We're gonna keep on supporting United, but we're gonna keep on criticizing them when they do shit. But we're gonna praise them, and we're gonna praise them when they do well. Okay. And today was absolute shit. Devin, thank you very much for joining me in the breakdown of this therapy session. To everyone out there, please share the video. And last but by no means least, Red Devils, we don't die, we multiply.
I got one thing into that right now too. If you're listening in on this show right now, you definitely know you're a real fan right now, because you'd be real venting and all that right now, and you don't want to hear anything about Manchester United right now. You just want to just sit there, go away, turn off your phone, hide those notifications from people. But the fact that you're even listening to the show right now, that says volumes about you as a fan.
Yeah, so, and we appreciate that. The number of Arsenal fans who found my Twitter handle and found my number, found my Instagram at the 90th minute. Boy, they remember.
It just goes to show, like it's like how I always like to say it, that we keep the red flag flying high because Man United will never die. And so This is the perfect example of that. You gotta support there through all the highs and the lows. So right
It's
now
true.
we're down here, but don't worry, we'll get back here soon. It's
I
gonna
got
it's
add,
gonna take
I
it's
got
gonna
add
take a lot of work, but yes.
I got add one positive to close off this show, right? Because Man United is hated, adored, but never
Never
ignored.
ignored.
And I will leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on the next show. Hey, if you appreciate what we're doing here at the United Hour, please like, please subscribe, and let's grow this community.